So this is not a science of life. And they re-engineered their name from the agrochemical industry to the life sciences industry when they were starting to use GMOs or wanting to use GMOs. And that's the second attempt of creating, of basically find ways to manipulate and substitute nature and substitute good farming by creating an unnecessary input. Synthetic fertilizers were the first unnecessary input. Manipulating seeds and plants to make GMOs in order to take patents was the second. And, when people ask me, why are you against GMOs? I said, I'm not against GMOs, but I'm against blindly accepting something that has totally failed. As a scientist, a failed tool cannot constantly be retooled as a miracle. Mr. Gates has recently said the GMOs are miracle seeds, magic seeds that are feeding the world. But the two dominant, when this whole debate started in the 90s, and I would debate the World Bank, I would debate the industry, and they would say, yeah, the Green Revolution, things went wrong, but now we have the perfect technology. We're going to grow food on the moon, in the Sahara, and on toxic dumps. What did we get now, 30 years later? All we have is Bt toxin crops and herbicide-resistant Roundup Ready crops. That's it, 2 traits. In 4 crops, corn, canola, soya, cotton. I know what the Bt cotton did to my country because I was forced to go into cotton, saving seeds, training organic farmers, helping create economies of weaving and using that organic cotton. Since globalization, we've lost 400,000 farmers to suicide because of debt. Of these, because this is the government data and the government puts out in this district, in this state, this many, we know in the districts and states where the cotton is grown. Because cotton doesn't grow everywhere. 85% of the 400,000 are in the cotton area. And our competition commission recognized 3 years ago, I think before Bayer took over Monsanto, they had recognized that Monsanto had a monopoly on cotton. 95, according to the government data, 95% cotton seed in India, and I guess the world, is GMO Bt cotton. Now, if you produce a Bt toxin plant to control pests, the success of that technology is the pests get controlled. The failure of that technology is you have more pests, and the pest you were trying to control is now resistant, so you've created a super pest. A pest control technology that creates super pests is not effective. In the US, it was mainly Roundup Ready crops to spray more glyphosate, to kill all plants, as the Monsanto. I remember during the negotiations of Convention on Biological Diversity, a Monsanto representative got up and said, we have such a smart technology that we can prevent the weeds from stealing the sunshine. And for them, then killing all biodiversity, except the 4 plants that they were using, was basically a contribution. I think this is a very clear example of creating a product to kill life on Earth, the green leaf that is the basis of the whole cycle of food. Today, half the farmlands of the United States are overtaken by super weeds created by Roundup Ready crops. Because what was ignored was that plants are intelligent, bacteria are intelligent, and insects are intelligent, and this constant pressure leads intelligent organisms to evolve resistance. So you have super resistant weeds and you have super resistant pests, and more toxics are being sprayed, and that's why they're rushing for gene editing, which the European Court of Justice has recognized as a GMO, because a GMO is a genetically modified organism where modification is done at the genetic level. Whether you add a new gene or you edit a gene, the results in both are genetic modification. And because all living systems, including the seed and the plant, are systems which are self-organized complexity, autopoiesis, as Maturana and Varela has said. And self-organization means an amazing harmony at every level of the genome. Every element of the genome is linked to other elements of the genome. One gene, one trait is not true. All genes work together to produce one trait. And each gene contributes to multiple traits, just about, because it's not a linear one-to-one relationship. And they're now calling gene editing as precision breeding. There's nothing about breeding there. And it's definitely not precision. Because when you're dealing with complexity, you don't look for precision. You look for balance. You look for non-violence. And already in the first year, and another interesting thing is, when molecular biology was created, the Rockefellers were funding the whole gene reductionism. We want to find genes under the skin because they had been, eugenics had been criticized for sexism, for racism. So they said, okay, we'll put all this atoms of determinism, they called it, under the skin. And they funded molecular biology to reduce complexity of life to the molecules of determination. That's why the ideology of genetic determinism is the gene is a master molecule. There's no master in life. Everything is a network. And all through those years, every Nobel Prize was given to people Rockefeller had funded. More recently, what happened?